Mario Kart Double Dash. An incredible video game. Top 100, no, top 10 of all time. Easy. Everybody loves this thing. You can't tell me that you've never been in the classic scenario. You're talking with your buddies, you're looking for something to do, they're throwing out some classics like Mario Kart 64, Mario Kart Wii, you know, both good choices, but then you drop the stinker on them. Double Dash, Daisy's Cruiser, that's it boys, wrap it up. I know what we're playing, but then you get a, nah, pass. In your astonishment, you write a Reddit post about it, that a content farm turns into a TikTok, millions of people call you a cringe-ass nene baby, and basically, now you're oppressed. Double Dash was a fantastic game that, unknown to most people, actually helped push the envelope for network play on Nintendo hardware, of all things. Microsoft, however, already kinda had it figured out. You'll catch old-school Xbox gamers reminiscing about how great it was to assemble their Xboxes and CRT TVs into this living, breathing organism in order to play Halo 2 System Link. But hardly anybody has a story like this about Mario Kart on the GameCube. And they should. This game's great. So why don't they? Back to the Xbox for a second. If you didn't understand what I meant by living, breathing organism earlier, you can connect 4 or so Xboxes together with a network switch or a router. You can form your own little local connection between all the Xboxes, then everybody can play together, and congratulations, baby just had his first LAN party. A good amount of games supported this feature, and for those who dabbled, it's usually one of their most fondly remembered things about the original Xbox. Now, back to the GameCube, which is bad. Because look at the back of this thing. Do you see an Ethernet port on here? Hey, no, stop. Editor, stop trying to make me look stupid. Get that off of there. Editor, stop. You're making me look stupid. No, there's no Ethernet jack on the GameCube, which sucks. You could get one, but you needed this thing. Hey, can you like add a JPEG of the broadband adapter in my hand here? No? Okay, great. He won't do it. I hurt his feelings, little bitch. Anyway, this is the official Nintendo GameCube broadband adapter. I don't have one because... And apart from adding it to my obscure collection of Nintendo artifacts, there's not much I could really do with it. Other than... Oh, I don't know. Play Mario Kart Double Dash with 16 fucking people? Yeah, that's what you can do with it. Oh, and also just a note on 16-player Double Dash here. The games always look like there's only 8 people playing, even when there's 16, because it's 8 teams of 2, with 1 person driving and 1 person shooting items per team. But what would it take for you or I to pull off a 16-player Double Dash game? Of course, we're gonna need GameCubes and controllers and all that, but what about Ugreen's first Nexode 300-watt charger? Bruh. Hold on, I promise this is on topic. You'll figure out why it's necessary later in the video. So Ugreen's Nexode line has always been a really solid set of chargers for laptops and other USB devices, and they just so happen to have put out a 300-watt version with 5 USB ports on it recently. Ugreen sent me over one of these for the video to help with the experiment, and holy crap, does this thing have the beans! This top USB Type-C port can output an eye-watering 140 watts, with these two that can do 100 watts and this one that can do 45. The legacy Type-A port for charging older stuff is crucial for me as well, considering the huge variation of stuff that I use for these videos. To be honest, this thing was really made for charging 3 laptops at the same time, seeing as it has those USB PD 3.1 fast charging connectors, but it's gonna work perfectly for what I've got planned in this video. Thanks again, Ugreen. So putting that aside for a minute, say we wanted to do this the pure official way, assuming we're starting from scratch. Okay, well we're gonna need to get 4 GameCubes with all the hookups, 4 broadband adapters, 4 copies of Double Dash, 4 displays, a whopping 16 GameCube controllers, and 15 friends. Aww. Note from the editor here, for 1, f this guy, and 2, if you're a little confused as to why I said 4 of each thing, don't worry, it'll all make sense later. Based on prices in my area, that kind of setup would run you somewhere in the ballpark of, oh, I don't know, $1,700? Yeah, a little insane, and it's a hell of a lot more than a cheap-ass gamer like myself would be willing to pay, that's for sure. But if I'm ever gonna get the chance to run a 16-player Double Dash game myself, it might just be my cheapness that makes this possible. Us cheap gamers see that $1,700 cost associated with playing on the real hardware, and we actually perish. See, look, I actually died. That's crazy. Why would I spend that when I can just pirate, emulate it instead? But even then, despite being Mr. Wacky Gaming Hardware Man, I don't actually know if I have what it would take to get 16 players going. I would need 4 computers capable of emulating the GameCube, 4 displays, and 16 controllers. I guess I could do it using some of the computers I have scattered around my house, or I could virtualize the whole thing on one PC.
Nice computer you got here.
But what I really want is to recreate the spectacle of having all that Mario Kart centralized in one area with one dedicated piece of hardware running each instance of the game. And since I don't have 4 gaming laptops to put them all together in one area, we'll have to make do with Android phones. This is why we needed the 300-watt charger. Okay, now hear me out. This sounds incredibly stupid, and to be fair, it kind of is. But the Dolphin GameCube emulator for Android runs really well, and surprisingly has broadband adapter emulation. So we can run 1 game per phone with 4 controllers connected to each phone, and then get our 16-player game up and running faster than you can say. This is by far the most compact and cost-efficient setup that I can come up with. No extra TVs, no big expensive computers, just 4 Android phones powerful enough to run the game, 16 controllers, and 15 fellow gamers. We'll worry about those last 2 things after we get the whole setup up and running. And if right about now you're thinking, come on dude, there has to be a better way to do this, then my response to you is get subscribed, because obviously you're new to what I do around here. Let's get started. The first phone that I'm going to be using in this setup is my own personal phone, a Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. It's got a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 CPU, Adreno 730 GPU, and 12 gigabytes of RAM. Ideally, I would just use 4 of these guys because big, strong phone, big, fast. But spec-wise, it's way overkill, so buying 3 more would be stupid, seeing as that would just leave me with less money to buy more Wiis. And either way, I didn't plan on buying any phones to make this happen. I'm just going to be pulling from my private selection, which can no longer be considered hoarding now that it's come in handy at least once. That's how that works, right? Anyway, the second most powerful phone that I have at my disposal is a Samsung Galaxy Fold 3. I got this guy for pretty cheap a while back since it's activation locked and it has a burnt-in LCD. The idea was to see if I liked using it, and if I did, I would just get a proper one as my daily driver. But since I've already showed off my personal phone, which is not a folding phone, I think you can figure out how that went. But the Fold 3 has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 CPU, an Adreno 660 GPU, and 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is, once again, completely overkill. But you know what isn't? These next 2 phones. Starting with the essential phone PH1. This one's got a Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 CPU, Adreno 540 GPU, and 4 gigabytes of RAM. I just kind of thought this phone was neat because of the history of these things, so I picked one up off a friend who upgraded to a Pixel or something. It feels nice, the screen and the body feel really good, and I think the specs are gonna be just enough to get Dolphin running. The last phone in this setup is a Nexus 6P. For anybody who bought one of these things in the US, including myself, this was probably their first and last Huawei phone, considering Huawei made like the British and got nay-nayed shortly after. I actually had a Nexus 6 before the 6P, and man, those were both awesome devices for the time. They just felt so gigantic and premium, and the moddable nature of the Nexus line was, just the chef's kiss on top. Anyway, the 6P has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 810 CPU, an Adreno 430 GPU, and 3 gigabytes of RAM. This will probably be fine for Dolphin, but it'll be scraping by for sure. So this Dolphin APK is just the regular official Android Dolphin APK, nothing special about it. You can download this from the Dolphin emulator website. It's as simple as clicking on it, and if your phone's already set up for it, you can just install it. Yes sir, app installed, open. Okay, now that you're in Dolphin, you gotta tell it where the games are. I already have my Mario Kart ISO chilling in this folder. Use this folder, allow, bam, we've got Mario Kart. And if your phone's up to the task, Bob will be your uncle. So this is obviously gonna work fine on the S22 Ultra. No doubt about that. And the Fold 3 here is also quite good. In-game, full speed, no problem. So we've got 2 devices so far that are good to go. Here's the essential phone. Dolphin is installed. Let's see. Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, this seems like full speed to me. Okay, essential phone, good to go. Now for the 6P. Okay, Dolphin's installed. Mario Kart. Nice. That was a little spooky there for a second. Oh no. And then the menu's fine. Okay, so hopefully that FMV was not indicative of anything. It's a little chunky. Ooh. Why is the screen black? Hello? Goodness, dude. Is the game here? Hold on. Yeah, no, the game is in there. It's just really dark. Yikes. That's not gonna do. I love this music. Luigi Circuit Core. Okay, well, it's entirely evident that the 6P is not gonna cut it. Hold on. There is another. Alright, here's the latest piece of crap from the phone box. The HTC 10. This was kind of the last hurrah of the aluminum HTC One lineup from back in the day. It's really sad to see how far HTC has fallen, though. I mean, lately they've been finding success in the VR market, which is cool, I guess. But man, did they make good phones. This one's got a Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 CPU, an Adreno 530 GPU, and 4 GB of RAM. It's just a hair more powerful than the Nexus 6P, which hopefully will be enough to fix the weird graphics issue and dark screen and actually run properly. Okay. Dolphin's now installed on the HTC 10. Come on, don't let me down. Okay. It's a better showing so far. Wait a second. I don't like that. That's indicative of a bad time. Okay. Okay, HTC. No wonder you're not in the phone market anymore. Can't even play Double Dash correctly. Okay, this is technically better than the 6P. But between the graphical glitching that's going on here and the slowdown, yeah, this isn't gonna work. I haven't tested them together yet, but I imagine that they all have to kind of be running the game at the same speed, or else it's gonna cause issues. Because every single phone's gonna have to communicate with one another, and if the emulation is not running at the same speed, I can't see that working very well. So, shoot. I don't know what to do. This collection here of my phone, the Essential phone, the Fold 3, the 6P, and the HTC 10, these were the most powerful phones I have. Like, look at this. HTC One M8, yeah, that's older than the 10, that's not gonna work. HTC One M7, even worse. BlackBerry, something. That one, weird LG banana phone. And don't even get me started on this one. I guess I'll have to settle for 12-player Double Dash then with 3 phones. No. I can't. We're 3 out of 4 phones in. Come on, there's gotta be something I can do. I guess it's time to turn to eBay. My local e-waste center had this extremely dinged up Galaxy S10 listed for pretty cheap, plus a scuffed up Galaxy Tab S4. So one drive over to garbage tech heaven later, and I'm now the proud owner of the final phone required for the 16-player Double Dash setup, as well as this backup tablet that should be powerful enough to run Dolphin if I need it to. The S10 that I picked up has got a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 CPU, Adreno 640 GPU, and 8 GB of RAM. That should be plenty of power. Let's finally do this. So in theory here, to get these things to all connect together, all we really gotta do is go to Config, GameCube Serial Port 1 device, change that to Broadband Adapter HLE, back out, open Double Dash, and now once you start the game, you'll get a new option here for LAN mode. Begin LAN mode, yes. We'll enable it on this one, and then on this one. Oh, it already found 2 of them, look at that. 2 Nintendo GameCube systems are connected. Press start, pause to begin play with this. Oh, we got 3! Okay, one more. LAN mode. Yes. Come on. Pick it up, come on. One more. Oh my god, there it is! I guess we can just hit start? Look at that, they're all connected! This reminds me of, like, DS download play mode back in the day. Wow, alright. Okay. Oh, dude, look at this! Okay, start game. Press A to enter. Oh, they're going. It didn't even let us choose the map. That's kind of weird. Oh, no. What happened? Uh-oh. So clearly, the universe is not going to be letting me off easy this time. Just like every other time I do unholy things to technology on my channel. Oops! That's every time! But trying to nail down some of these issues, I tried switching every phone between my 5 GHz and 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi networks, and then starting up the games, connecting to LAN, but I'd get the same error. Well, sometimes. More often than not, when they were all on specifically my 5 GHz network, the game would actually work. But geriatrically. 50% speed here is not going to cut it. I'm still not sure if this is a performance issue or a network issue, so for now I'm going to move my focus over to the Essential phone, seeing as it's the weakest link here power-wise, and it might be dragging the whole setup down with it. So I set up a LAN game without the Essential phone, and it ran perfect. full speed, no problem. Okay, so the Essential phone is no good then. Except that's not necessarily the case. Is the Essential phone too slow? Or is a 4-phone LAN game just too taxing? So to put that to the test, I swapped out the S10 with the Essential phone, and then ran a 3-phone LAN game again, but with the Fold, the S22, and with the Essential phone. And it was the same result as last time. The game ran great. So clearly the Essential phone and every other phone here is capable of making this happen from a performance standpoint. Therefore, the network probably isn't. Wi-Fi is notoriously shitty at pretty much everything, so that's my next target. I tried spacing out the phones. I don't really have a good reason as to why I tried this, and it also didn't really seem to do much. So after that, I brought all the phones closer to the router. Wi-Fi does tend to get better when you close the gap between your devices and the source, so I just moved the whole setup to about 2 feet under the access point, but doing that really didn't improve the slowdown either. Am I just expecting too much from this? Is it even reasonable to expect it to be running at full speed? Like, does the actual game on real hardware run at full speed with 4 consoles in a LAN game? I actually have no idea. I've never tried it on real hardware. So I sat down at my computer, looked it up, and according to this video from a guy who's set the whole thing up himself, he's got 8 GameCubes connected and they're running Wait a second, what? 8 GameCubes? Wait, why is he using 8? Wouldn't it have just been cheaper to run 4? Wait, hold on. No, you've got to be kidding me. The game doesn't support 4 players across 4 GameCubes. Only 2 players per console. If I'm gonna make 16 players happen, I'm gonna need 4 more phones. Back over to the e-waste store I went, where I purchased even more phones. Alright, we're gonna lightning round show these ones off. I picked up another Galaxy S10, a Galaxy S10e, a Galaxy S9, and an LG Velvet 2 Pro. And now that I've gotten a better look at this thing, I think this is an unreleased prototype phone from LG. Like, I don't think you could buy these retail. This one kind of deserves its own video now that I think about it. Either way, we've got a 16-player game to run. Man, this project has definitely left the realm of cheap at this point. Don't get me wrong, it's still way under what it would have cost with real hardware, considering my previous estimation was for 4 GameCubes, 4 games, 4 broadband adapters, and 4 TVs. Now that I know we can only play 2 people per console, if we redo the math with 8 of each thing, plus 16 controllers, the total now comes out to more like $3,230.
It's too much! It's too much!
So yeah, I'll take my few $100s worth of phones. We now finally have enough devices to make 16-player happen. However, as you can see from the slowdown in this 7-device test that I did, the Wi-Fi situation is still a big issue. And that is where this 24-port switch and this modem come into play.
Yeah!
This network that I'm going to put together with these is completely isolated from my home network, so only Mario Kart traffic will be driving down these cables. Using some Type-C to Ethernet adapters and plugging the phones into either the modem or the switch, we can finally get that silky smooth 4-device gameplay going for us. So the phones all performed fine. It was the Wi-Fi that was letting us down. But this is great. We've got a solution now. All we got to do is add the other 4 devices that I bought, which are all dead. Looks like the Ugreen Nexode 300-watt charger is saving the day again. So I hardly had to do any waiting before setting up the ultimate Android phone LAN setup. 8 phones, 8 USB Ethernet adapters, 1 modem, 1 router, and an infinite amount of disappointment. Not once was I able to get an 8-phone match going. It's gotten extremely close. Look at this, all the way up to the point that the racers line up and they get ready to go, but for whatever reason, the second it goes to get in game,
Nope.
the connection always fails before I can start playing. Also, this is what it sounds like with them all going at once. I tell you to kill me, but they're playing this audio in hell too. I tried restarting Dolphin on every phone, no luck. I tried restarting every phone, no luck. I tried rebooting the router. I tried rebooting the switch. I tried linking the switch to my home network instead of the isolated one with the modem, nothing. I tried connecting Dolphin on my PC to this setup, which actually works by the way, but the issue was still the same every time. Data could not be properly transferred to other Nintendo GameCube systems. I tried connecting each phone to a 2-phone link, one at a time, and then let the race sit for a bit to test the connection between each phone. But individually, they all hold a connection fine. I swapped out all the USB network adapters for different ones. I swapped out the Ethernet cables. I've done everything I can think of. And the fact that the connection is perfect at 6-phone and under setups, like you can see here, but then extremely unstable at 7 and 8, means that, unfortunately, an 8-device link is just not going to happen. And here's my smoking gun evidence that it has to do with the device count per setup. I can run 2 of these separate 4-phone game setups on the same network at once. Both of them are rock solid the whole time, even on the same network. And again, the fact that we can go up to a 6-phone setup no problem, 8 devices, and therefore 16 players, it's just not going to happen. Well, on 8 phones at least. Remember how I said the connection was perfect with 6 phones? And you know how I was able to link up with my PC? What if I just run 6 phones and then 2 instances of Dolphin on my PC? Would that be stable? No, it's not. In fact, this was kind of even worse. I could barely maintain the connection doing it this way. Well, this turned out to be one of those projects that's probably going to haunt me forever. I can already tell the pain is going to be palpable. A sensation akin to mourning. Grief for the loss of what could have been the jankiest game of 16-player Mario Kart ever played. But no, it was snatched away. The hours I invested, the sacrifices I made, and the dream I dared to dream, all wasted. It's a cruel irony that I came so close, only to be denied the sweet taste of completion, which would have tasted like 16 people at once. But not in that way, that's weird. What might be the most agonizing was just the loss of control. I was the architect of this endeavor. I created a beautiful infrastructure, the likes of which has never been seen. I handpicked the perfect devices for the job. But then, none of it mattered. I may have been sitting in the driver's seat of this GameCube-themed vessel, but in the end, turns out that the steering wheel was never mine to control in the first place. But hey, I got an 8-system 16-player game running on my PC at least. Well, there you have it, guys. The best I could possibly muster for a 16-player Mario Kart Double Dash game. I mean, this in itself is actually pretty impressive. And my Windows network connection page is absolutely decimated from the number of virtual Ethernet adapters right now. This has been going for like 2 minutes now. This connection's actually really good. I really wanted it to work on the phones. I really did. Just because, you know? Like, Dolphin on Android is already cursed enough. The fact that you could just be sitting on the city bus, whip out your phone, and just start playing a 20-year-old Mario Kart game, that in itself is insane. But the journey ends here. I'm glad this works. I wish this worked. Maybe when Dolphin's broadband adapter emulation matures a little bit, I can revisit the concept. I can also get 8 entire computers to do this. I thought this video was a little expensive. Gonna need a couple more sponsors for an 8 PC one. Bruh. Oh, maybe it's not as stable as I thought. Oh well. And I'm sure I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.